looking for a sign to go and study for your CETs, then this is it. This is your sign.
Hey guys, it's me Nicole, and today I'll be sharing with you my college entrance test experience.
Hi.
You should have seen the way that you bloom.
This video will hopefully give you guys a head start on your CET season, what to expect, because I will be sharing with you guys what I experienced in my CET season. So for the context, I am an incoming freshman in DLSU. I took 4 college entrance tests, namely UPCAT for University of the Philippines, USTET for University of Santo Tomas, DCAT for De La Salle University, and DQuEx for De La Salle DASMA. And thankfully, so far I passed all of my CETs. And yes, I did say so far because by the time I'm recording this, UP still hasn't released the results. So I don't know if I passed the UPCAT. So I prepared my notes here for you guys so I wouldn't miss any point and so I won't go out of topic. So let's start with my experience while I was still preparing for my entrance tests. So I started preparing for my CETs last May 2019. So this time last year, I was already preparing. I was already starting to study for my tests. I was enrolled in AHEAD Alabang. So I had Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 12 noon classes from May 8 to June 7. So that was a month of review class. And then after that, senior year started. I went to self-study mode because I did not enroll for any more refresher course. I only self-studied. I studied with my friends, especially during the school year. We would go to the library during lunchtime and try to study together. Though sometimes we just end up talking, but we did try to study together. Also, it was a great help since in my group of friends, not all of us were enrolled in just one review class. So we were able to exchange information from our review centers. And then application process arrived. That started for me in June. Again, this is just my experience. Some universities started before June, some started after June. So each university has different requirements, obviously. In DLSU, they only had online requirements, so all the requirements were to be sent online. But in UP, UST, and La Salle DASMA, they had paperwork requirements. But thankfully, in my school, they offered batch processing or batch applications. So what we did was we had to submit our paperwork requirements to our guidance office. And the guidance office was the one who would be going to the universities to submit our requirements. So my application process overall was not really hard. Our school only offered batch processing for the Big 4. For my La Salle DASMA exam, my family and I had to go to DLSU-D ourselves. But it was fine. We got to tour the school and it was really pretty. So basically, until the CETs came, I was just really preparing for them and it was a lot to deal with. Of course, as a senior student, we had our academic requirements, we had our extracurricular requirements, we had to prepare for our different CETs. So we had a lot on our plate. So time management during that time was really important and I have a lot of tips for you guys. And I will be sharing with you guys the mistakes I made so you don't have to repeat them. But that will be on my next video. So make sure to turn on the notification bell to get notified when I post that video. That will be next week, Wednesday, 8 p.m. Okay, moving on. So now I will be sharing with you guys my different experience on the different CETs that I took. Let's start with DCAT. Out of all the CETs that I took, this is when I pressured myself the most because La Salle is my dream school, so I really wanted to pass the DCAT. I was very lucky that DCAT was scheduled during my finals week in school. My DCAT was a Sunday and finals week started the week before that and continued on until the week after DCAT. I was studying for my finals and for my DCAT. It's really hard to balance both. So in the end, I ended up prioritizing studying for DCAT more, but I'm not saying that you should completely disregard your finals or your academic requirements. Don't do that. But along the way, you have to know that you would have to make some sacrifices. You could not fully balance your CETs and your academic requirements. In the DCAT, they have a whole section that is just for statistics. So make sure to focus on that, especially if math is not your best friend. And in the end of the DCAT, there is a personality test. That is my favorite test out of all the CETs. Basically, the questions there are like, if your friend is having a hard time in school, what will you do? A. Ignore him. B. Laugh at him. C. Help him. So of course, you would choose C. You would help your friend.
super duper. And it's also very hot. I'm wearing a turtleneck and a jacket.
We have new folders though.
May bago na akong kalat sa keyboard.
This exam was the day after my birthday, so I wasn't really able to prepare for it because I wanted to celebrate on my birthday, which was a wrong idea. The USTET was the hardest exam that I took, personally. So, it was really a bad idea for me not to prepare for it the day before. Because turns out, the questions were really STEM-centered. I had a really hard time answering. But what I remember from the USTET is there is this fast section test type thing. Like, there is 60 items and you can only answer that for around 30 minutes. And when they give you your USTET results, they don't show you your score for that section of the test. I don't know why, honestly. Next, let's talk about DQuEx, the exam for De La Salle DASMA. I took this January of this year, so basically I wasn't anymore in the set season phase. I didn't feel like I was still taking a CET, so I ended up not studying for it at all. Which turns out to be fine because personally, this test was very easy. They just had 3 sections, English, Science, and Math. And all 3 naman were bearable. Like, I knew what I was answering in all of them. So yeah, out of all the 4, this was the easiest exam that I took. And last but not the least, we have UPCAT. UPCAT was the first CET that I took, so I didn't know what to expect. So when you take the UPCAT, there are a lot of testing centers. You could either take it in UP or any testing center that is the most convenient for you. I took mine in Southville. I had the morning schedule, so it was still dark outside when we went there. Ang pinaka-naalala ko talaga sa UPCAT was the sample question. Because when we opened the booklet and I saw the sample question, naisip ko, sample question pa lang, hindi ko na alam yung sagot. So, yun pa lang, na-pressure na ako kasi nga, sample question pa lang, hindi ko na alam yung answer. So, what more sa mismong UPCAT? UPCAT was not easy, but some of my friends found it easy. So, it really depends on you. Also, questions in the UPCAT are in both English and Filipino, so make sure to also focus on your Filipino skills. And another thing in the UPCAT, the reading comprehension is very draining. There are readings in the UPCAT that are 1 page long. So if you end up reading all of those, it's super draining. It's really gonna drain you for the next questions, for the next test types. But I do have a tip for you guys when you encounter those long readings. So make sure to check my next video. Oh, and the UPCAT also has right -1/4 wrong. So this is the only test where you could actually not answer a test item. So you don't accumulate the -1/4 wrong para hindi siya dumami ng dumami and it might bring you down. So that summarizes my 4 big days. Let's move on to the waiting game. Aside from the DQX, all of my entrance tests were in October. And the results were not until January, except for UPCAT, as I've said. Those 3 months were very long. It was so hard to wait for the results. So January arrived, and the first result that came in was DLSU. This is my dream school. I got really scared. And then the next CET result that came in was La Salle DASMA. I passed, thank God. And USTET. I remember checking the USTET in school. It was during our midterms, during break time. People were panicking because of their USTET results, and I decided, oh, I want to panic too. So I checked my results, and surprisingly, I was really not expecting to pass the USTET because just like what I've said, I really had a hard time answering it, but I passed. So that summarizes my whole CET experience. I learned a lot from it, and I would love to share it with you guys so you don't have to make the same mistakes that I did. So make sure to turn on the notification bell to get notified when I post my next video about my tips and advice for you incoming CET takers. That will be next Wednesday, 8 p.m. And if you reach this far, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and comment down any questions that you have. I will answer them. You can ask me anything about the CETs. Also, just a reminder, you guys are very amazing people, and regardless of the school you go to, you will succeed and you will achieve your dreams. Bye!